Welcome back to Switch to Linux, and this is the weekly news roundup business section. These are recorded live Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can catch the show live. So today we are going to be talking about our business news, and if you need a website for your small business, consider A2 Hosting. This is who I use for all of my clients. Of course, I have a VPS. They also have shared hosting, which is pretty good. They have reseller if you're into selling your hosting, and dedicated stuff if you need some serious servers. For their servers, one of the reasons I recommend them is they have free SSLs and everything is very easy to configure. Their support is pretty good. It's not as great as it used to be, but it is still pretty good for the industry, which is always changing and in shift. Of course, I'm doing everything on my VPS, which is great. The shared plans are also good, so definitely consider using my affiliate link, which is there on the screen or in the description down below. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the business news. First and foremost, IKEA did the most cool and amazing thing in the world. They created Sofa Sans. That is right. This is a font, people. Now, I'm kind of curious about I do a lot of things with fonts and things. You need to make sure your licensing is right, stuff like this. They actually don't have a font license in here that I was able to find. Usually you're supposed to pack a font license with your font. So I don't know if you can use this commercially or what you can do with it. But anyway, they made a font out of sofas. So literally, their fonts are done with sofa clips, all right? And so here's some of the snippets. So you can actually get this overhead sofa font, or you can get this 3D angled sofa font. So it's all put together with these little sofa guys here. So you can go ahead and download the link right there on the site there, and you can go ahead and play with your sofa font. Now, I am not seeing it show up on my LibreOffice on Arch. That might just be because the system needs rebooted. I did actually play around with it a little bit on GIMP, and I was actually able on GIMP to put together some text in sofa font, and it was quite epic. So definitely, if you are in the mood for just some crazy, funky, weird font, IKEA's got you covered. They got the IKEA sofa font. Definitely check that stuff out. All right, now on to the real serious stuff, going downhill fast. One of the greatest issues we're going to be facing in this crazy AI world is AI spam search results. AI spam search results. And I forgot to pull up the post, which I think is... Here it is. All right. I forgot to pull this one up. All right. So basically what the issue is here is that by taking some market idea and feeding it into the AI will generate an entire website and put an entire website on the internet. And then, of course, if companies grab this AI code, which you can usually just grab the AI code and just deploy it, what will happen is they could literally get AI for their product or service and completely spam out search results. Now, we say Google search, but really this is going to impact any search result unless there is a good means or way to figure out if this is AI generated. So if this happens to be AI generated, whatever search engine figures this out is going to be in the better. But even if people don't figure out what it is, it's still going to make a lot of scammers pretty wealthy. So this is actually an entire website. Now, they said except for the titles of the posts, everything else in this website is generated by the AI. So they came up with the title here. Instagram stories first made people's Instagram feeds sleeker, more colorful, and generally more fun. They could post their artistic photos in the background of someone else's story and secretly make someone jealous and or unfollow you while doing it. So if you read through this, and actually, literally this makes more sense than some high-end corporate business websites I worked on where you read one of the things and you go, I read every word. I knew every word, but I have no earthly idea what in the world I just read. All right. And so this is very fascinating that AI is actually able to put together a site like this that is literally, and I think they said it spit out this whole site in like a day. I mean, this is crazy how fast this stuff works. So here's your influencer marketer. Here's your influencers. So all AI generated except, of course, the titles. And the titles were only partially created by humans. The AI would prompt for a few things, and then the human would verify it. So Barry Tree is not a real human. His face was generated by an AI model. Hey, isn't that exciting? Here's C author's post. All right. This is what we're going to see. And so as companies and marketing companies grab onto this stuff, they're going to completely spam out search results and pretty much make search engines totally useless. Which maybe it's a good thing if search engines become totally useless. Maybe we can get Google out of the dictionary. How's that? That would be fun. All right. Yeah, onto there's some foxes in the hen house. Asia, shut your pie hole, I think needs to be held accountable on this thing. They're asleep at the wheel. The FCC is asleep at the wheel. The government's asleep at the wheel. The consumer agencies are asleep at the wheel. The only ones that aren't asleep at the wheel are the companies, and they're just like, we're driving towards maximum profit, baby. So in this case, a Frontier customer, now, I gotta say before we dive into this, guys, you know these struggles and the fights, like, for about a year, every 3 months, Comcast kept adding that $10 modem rental fee onto my bill. Guys, I owned my modem since 2004. I've never rented a modem from that company. And so every day, and so I actually called them up. And I'm like, dude, what is going on here? She says, well, there's auditors that look at the accounts and they add this fee back on. I said, can we tell these auditors to stop doing it? She says, no. I said, will they read your notes? No. Can you talk to them? No. Can I talk to them? No. So some third party just keeps on adding a $10 fee to my bill for a modem that I actually own. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Really? Guys, I have this on tape, and it is on this channel. It was a fully consensually recorded phone conversation, and it is the most ludicrous thing you'd ever see in your life. In fact, back then I only had maybe 1,000 subscribers. Maybe we can get a big resurgence of that video and send that video out to say this is a real Comcast employee telling me how back-end auditors, who nobody has any control over, keeps on adding stuff to my bill without anybody's consent and without any way to talk to them about it. So I'll link that video here. Go check it out. Spread it out to everywhere. Maybe I'll go post it back on my social media. Oldie but goodie. But in light of that, this guy here, hey, at least every time I called Comcast, they took the fee off, all right? This guy here, a Frontier customer, bought his own router, but still has to pay a $10 rental fee. All right? Customer owns the router. Router works fine. Frontier refuses to waive the fee. All right. So basically what happened is this is a case where he's been a Frontier customer since April 2006 when Frontier purchased Verizon's wireless network in Texas, California, and Florida. Prior to that, he was a Verizon Fios customer and purchased Verizon's Easy Gateway router for $200 in order to avoid the monthly rental fees. All right, so as soon as he went into Frontier, bought it, they started charging him $5 a month, what's listed as a Wi-Fi router fee on their bill, and then the company raised the fee to $10 a month in April this year, including the router rental charge. The couple pays $90 a month for 150 Mbps broadband plan with no TV or phone service. All right. He says, it worked well for me until the takeover happened with Frontier, and I began getting charged for using my own equipment. I've continued to call Frontier and was repeatedly assured the fees would be taken off my bill. But that didn't happen. While Son was able to get 3 months worth of credits at one point last year, he said he otherwise had to pay $5 and now $10 a month router fees ever since Frontier bought Verizon's network. So he complains to the FCC. He complains to the FCC. Frontier responded to the complaint, but stuck to the position he has to pay a fee. A voicemail that Frontier left with Son and his wife said the company informed the FCC that the router monthly charge is an applicable fee and it will continue to be billed. Another voicemail from Frontier told them they can avoid the monthly rental fee if they purchase a Frontier router. We will reimburse you if you purchase a Frontier router. We cannot reimburse you if you have a Verizon router. We are not Verizon. The voicemail said, you can choose to use your own router. However, you will still be charged the monthly fee. The difference is we do not service the router that you choose to use. So the complaint process can help customers in some cases, but doesn't require the provider to do anything other than respond within 30 days. FCC Complaints told Sun in an email, "We reviewed the provider's response, and based on the information they submitted, we believe your provider has responded to your concerns." When FCC Chairman Ajit, shut your pie hole and go back to Verizon, you shill. Having deregulated the broadband industry, there's little to no chance the commission taking action to stop fees like the ones charged by Frontier. It's $10 today, but how much will it cost tomorrow? I'd consider letting it go if their customer service blew me out of the water, but they've been terrible ever since Verizon forced Frontier on us. So they defend the fees. Have a listen to this. This is exciting. Our Frontier residential gateway router is Frontier equipment provided with every service other than service order and especially designed to work with our service. Our advertising and our residential internet terms and conditions make it clear our service includes equipment charges such as a router charge, and neither our advertisements nor our terms and conditions provide any exceptions. A customer may choose to use their own router, but if the customer does, our router charge continues to apply. Also, we cannot support or repair non-Frontier equipment. Oh, cry me a river full of tears. I don't want Comcast in my house. If my router dies, I'll go to Walmart, buy another one, for crying out loud. All right. Though infrequent, when a customer chooses a non-Frontier router, we see increased complaints and more difficulty with troubleshooting, performing our online resets, and providing simple resolution, so it costs more to serve that customer. Therefore, if a customer uses their own router, the charge still applies to cover their costs. Frontier cannot support or repair non-Frontier equipment. Guys, at what point in time can we have the long arm of the government whack Frontier over into the Chinese Ocean? Take these people, beat them in town square. He is using his own equipment. It didn't sound to me as though he's asking them for support. I know full well if I'm having issues, Comcast is not going to be able to remotely support my router. Guess what? I don't care. I can troubleshoot my router. Your average guy with a few brain cells rubbing together can troubleshoot the router. Did you try turning it off and back on again? That solves most router connection issues. Quite seriously. All right. Now, that being said, this is the case. It's like, just switch to another provider. Like, which one? I have one option, Comcast. I hate Comcast. If I had another option that I could live stream and do my work, I'd dump Comcast in a heartbeat. Guys, I'd go to Google before I'd go to Comcast. But Google ain't an option where I live. All right? This is a serious problem, and the federal regulators need to have their heads checked if they cannot figure out that this is a company abusing a customer. I'm not seeing the customer saying, hey, I need support. I am seeing a customer who says, I have my own equipment. I'm not using your equipment. You can't charge me a fee for equipment that I don't actually have. But the FCC is too busy being in bed with the ISP telecom lobby, and that's why every one of them in the FCC, they need booted out. Boot them all out. Send them back to Verizon. Go for it. I don't care. Let them do their little work in there and put somebody in the FCC that can actually do something. I'll tell you what I'd do if it were I were this guy. I'd be wearing them out. I would be completely wearing them out in small claims court. That's what I'd be doing. Wear them out. Do fees. Hey, I have my own router. They've never, in fact, it says in the article here that he never received their router. He doesn't even have it in his possession. I don't have a router. I don't have their router. Oh, you're charging a rental fee for a service you don't have? Any judge will look at this and go, I don't care what your terms and conditions say. You're charging for a service he doesn't have. Then when it does next week, go back. How long is before the judge is going to shut something down going on there? It's going to get in their face real quick. All right? That's the thing that this guy needs to do. Well, maybe that should have been my chief story, but speaking of people who need to be hung up in town square. So the drug lobbies, of course, we talked about this earlier this year. But in 2019, drug prices are still surging. This is one of the things that the president said he's going to look into and stop and all this kind of stuff. But they're still hiking the prices 5 times what inflation is. More than 3,400 drugs have boosted their prices in the first 6 months in 2019, an increase of 17% in the total number of drug hikes from last year. The average price hike is 10.5%, which is 5 times the rate of inflation. Drug hikes come at times when lawmakers and the Trump administration have vowed to address the problem of rising prescription costs. All right, so these companies, they know that it's either down to, hey, would you like to buy our medicine no matter the cost, or would you like to just get sick and not be able to function, maybe even die? Guys, this is price gouging to the nth degree. And every single company involved in price gouging, they need to see all of their top executive board spend some time in jail. Get them out of there. Prosecute them on price gouging laws. We actually have them. What qualifies as price gouging? Price gouging qualifies, so like bottles of water sell for $1 at a given place, just say, which is, I don't think, not too far. Of course, a convenience store that sells it cold right at the register, you might buy that one for $2. You go way back and buy a whole case of them, it might be closer to 50 cents per bottle, as long as you buy, a case or 2 of them. All right. But then if a tragedy strikes, the grid is shut down. Now that store says, oh, lots of people are coming in for water. And if they double or triple or quadruple the price of that water, that's called price gouging. Because you're taking advantage of a serious need to extract more money out of a person. Well, what else do you call it when a person is sick or dying and you jack up the price of the drugs a whole lot for apparently no good reason? That is called price gouging. And we need to hold these companies liable for price gouging. Prosecute them criminally. Send them to jail. These little fines that correlate to 5% or 10% of the profits that they made don't do anything. Fine them 10 times what the profits were and send some people to jail. You're going to find corporate America clean up like that. That's how long it's going to take. This is a shame that this is happening. And I'm not a huge fan of prescription medications as it is, but this is something we don't need happening. For people that need these medicines, we already have a healthcare crisis. It does not help when we keep jacking up the price of pharmaceuticals. Let me know what you guys think of all this stuff in the comments down below.